How many times have you felt that little spark, that motivation to really improve yourself, but then you just get lost? It's like this huge ocean of advice, all the self-help books, online courses. It's overwhelming. So today, we're going to try and cut through some of that noise. We're taking a deep dive into the very first episode of a series called 100 Steps Personal Growth. Welcome to your journey. Our mission here is basically to unpack why a structured approach like this one might actually be the roadmap you've been looking for. We'll look at what you can really expect from it, how it's designed to be used practically, and what they say is the critical first step, setting clear intentions.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is how a series like this taps into a pretty fundamental human challenge. I mean, we're drowning in information, right?
Yeah.
Constant demands on our attention. And real personal growth, it often feels, well, kind of abstract, like an ideal maybe, but not a concrete plan you can actually follow. So a clear step-by-step roadmap, especially one that's built around intentionality, yeah, that can be a total game changer. It moves you from feeling swamped to actually making progress.
Okay, let's get into that. So the creators of this 100 Steps series, they start by pointing out a problem that I think, well, a lot of us feel. They highlight how, life is so fast-paced. You've got work deadlines, family stuff, endless social media scroll, and personal growth. It often ends up on the back burner, right? Or just forgotten completely. It's like we lose our own compass and just the day-to-day grind.
Totally lost.
So how does this 100 Steps thing propose to fight back against all that distraction? Their solution, it seems pretty simple, almost elegant, actually. Just dedicate, say, 10 to 15 minutes a week. That's it. For intentional focus on your own development. And it's not pitched as some kind of quick fix, It's framed as this deliberate 100-episode adventure. And the promise. A clear, step-by-step roadmap. They explicitly say, no fluff, no gimmicks. The goal is to help you clarify your values, set really powerful goals, build habits that stick, and ultimately design a life you genuinely love.
Right, that phrase, designing a life you love, it's powerful, but like you said, often abstract. What makes this structure potentially so effective isn't just having a roadmap, it's how it lines up with what we know about, well, behavior change. Breaking growth down into these little 10, 15-minute chunks, that seriously lowers the activation energy. That mental hurdle to just start something new. Big goals feel huge, daunting. But a small, consistent commitment like this, it makes starting and, crucially, continuing feel much more achievable.
That makes a ton of sense. Okay, so once you're in, what does this 100-step series actually look like, episode to episode? Each one is apparently around 15 to 20 minutes long. And it focuses tightly on just one core concept, which sounds like it's designed for easy listening, like on your commute or maybe a lunch break, winding down at night.
Convenient, yeah.
And the whole series, it's structured very purposefully. It moves through 10 distinct phases, 10 themes. You start with the basics like foundations, self-awareness, mindset, and then it progresses all the way to things like advanced topics and reflection. And they don't just leave you hanging with theory. That's important. They make sure each episode gives you practical tools, things like actionable frameworks, journal prompts, simple exercises you can use right away.
The practical application.
Exactly. And there are other interesting bits too. They plan to bring in guest experts, sometimes psychologists, maybe business leaders, wellness coaches. Plus, every 10th episode is a community roundup. That's where they'll tackle listener questions, share success stories, maybe talk about common challenges people face. Sounds like a good way to feel, connected. Oh, and this seems key. At the end of every single episode, there's a growth action step, like a bite-sized task for you to actually practice.
Yeah, that multifaceted approach, it's smart. It's not just comprehensive. It's designed to make the learning really stick, giving you practical tools, those growth action steps. That pushes you into what educators call active recall and spaced repetition.
Yeah.
You're not just passively soaking it up. You're engaging with it right away. And that's absolutely vital for those aha moments,
Yeah.
where knowledge actually turns into understanding and hopefully lasting change. It does make you wonder, though, in a world that wants everything instantly, can a 100-step journey that's almost 2 years really keep people engaged? Those community bits and guest experts, they're clearly trying to address that potential growth fatigue, which is a real thing.
That's a really good point about keeping momentum. Okay, so how are you actually supposed to use the series? What's nice is they seem to build in a lot of flexibility. You can follow it step by step, episode 1 to 100, for that structured progression. But you also have the freedom to just jump to topics that grab you right now. Apparently, there's a full episode guide on their website. And obviously, you can go back and revisit episodes like little refreshers as you change and grow.
That makes sense.
They also give a pro tip, which I think is particularly good. Keep a dedicated journal. Could be digital, could be good old paper. Use it to jot down key takeaways, any insights you have, and definitely those growth action steps. The idea they put forward is that over time, this journal becomes more than just notes. It becomes your personal ledger of transformation. Kind of cool.
That flexible engagement, that's really powerful. It lets you tailor the journey to exactly what you need at your own pace. Research backs that up. It boosts follow-through. But that journaling part, the pro tip, that's what really lifts it from just listening to actively learning. From a cognitive psychology standpoint, writing things down, externalizing your thoughts, it improves clarity, helps regulate emotions, and seriously boosts memory. You're literally reinforcing those neural pathways, turning fleeting ideas into something more solid. It cements your progress.
Okay, so before you even get into the theories or the tactics, this 100-step series really emphasizes pausing to set intentions. They frame this as like the absolute crucial first step. It asks you to wrestle with 3 pretty introspective questions before you really kick things off. First one, why do I want to grow? This gets at your real personal why, right? Maybe you want more confidence or better relationships, or maybe you just feel stuck, ready for something different.
Yeah, the deep motivation.
Exactly. Then the second question, what are my top 3 focus areas? This forces you to narrow it down. What really matters to you right now? Is it, I don't know, time management, emotional intelligence, building healthier habits? You pick 3. And the third one they pose is, how will I measure progress? And put them more is working. Will you track journal entries every day? Use an app for habits. Check in with a friend each week. The series literally suggests you take a moment, reflect, and actually write down your answers to these before going any further.
Right, and it's worth pausing on why this is so fundamental. Why is clarity on your why, your focus, and your measurement so critical for any kind of growth journey? Well, it ties straight into something called self-determination theory. Basically, when your goals really connect with your inner values, your why, you're way more likely to stick with it. Intrinsic motivation, defining those focus areas, that gives you direction, stops you feeling overwhelmed by trying to fix everything at once, and setting up ways to measure progress, that gives you essential feedback. It shows you the effort is paying off, reinforces your actions. Without these pieces, any growth effort can feel kind of aimless, and it fizzles out quickly.
Understand that psychology really does make those questions feel more powerful, doesn't it? Okay, so let's talk about the very first actual growth action step that the 100-step series gives its listeners. It's super concrete. First, define your why. They actually ask you to sit down and write a 2 or 3 sentence statement, starting with, I am committing to this growth journey because...
Making it explicit.
Yes. Second, choose your top 3 focus areas. Just list them out. These are your priorities for the next month or so. And finally, third, pick your tracking method. Decide right now how you'll record your progress. Bullet journal, spreadsheet, an app, whatever works for you. The idea is you do these foundational things before you even move on to the next part of the journey.
Exactly. And these aren't just like random tasks. They're foundational for a reason. They demand immediate action, pulling you from just thinking about it to actually doing something concrete. By tackling these first steps, you're not just saying, welcome to the journey. You're actually building that initial bit of momentum, setting a strong starting point. It's about making that internal commitment real, tangible.
And really, that wraps up our deep dive into this first look at 100 Steps Personal Growth. Welcome to your journey. It definitely seems to offer a structured path, but also one that's accessible and really focused on action. Intentional personal development, designed to meet you where you are right now and hopefully guide you forward. So maybe something to think about as we finish up. What single intention, if you set it right now, could potentially unlock the next surprising insight in your own personal growth journey? Just something to mull over. And if you're curious to dig deeper into any of the concepts or sources we touched on, you can find links and extra resources in our show notes. And for anyone following along with the 100-Step series itself, it looks like their next topic, according to the source, is defining personal growth, what it really means, and how to make it personal. Should be interesting.